Hi, this is George Gervin, and you checking out Scoop B Radio.
The man was born to score. The book says so himself. Hall of Famer, all around good brother George Gervin joins us. Brother, what's going on?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, man. Enjoying life, man, and enjoying where I am in life, and trying to take it easy, man, in my senior years.
Listen, if you guys want a book to stuff people's stockings for Christmas, before we start, what do you want for Christmas?
Well, I want it to be over.
Okay.
If you read the book, I have a different understanding about Christmas, so I don't celebrate it, and I don't tarnish or take away whoever do celebrate Christmas. It's just this time of year that, it comes and go, and, I appreciate my stance on it, and I appreciate anybody else stands on it, because we have choices.
When I was a kid growing up, my family ran and operated two shoe businesses in Harlem, and one of them was was a family sneaker store. And I remember seeing this very photo with you with that I think it's velour suit on, sitting on ice. It was a poster. But there's one thing I've always wanted to know. Were you actually sitting on ice in that picture?
And, you really take a good look and sitting where I'm sitting, you'll see the plastic that I'm sitting,
Yeah, I kind of see that now. So walk me through that photo shoot. What was going on?
Man, it was incredible. I never expected what we were going to do. I was invited in. We talked about posters because, back then Nike was creating posters, and the one they wanted to create for me, since I was the Iceman, is to create a poster with me sitting on a throne of ice. Mm-hmm. So I go into Portland and I go into an ice factory, and I actually watched them build that chair that I'm sitting on with the ice. And then we did our thing, they had the suit for me, the sweatsuit, and, we tried all different kind of poses to sit. I never really got caught up in me crossing my legs, but that's what they wanted. But, I never knew that this poster was going to be recognized like it has been for so long. And so many people said they had it. So it was an interesting piece for me, man. And yes, that is real ice that I'm sitting on.
I know your ass was cold when you left that shoot.
Man, it's cool, but I had to keep getting up. I'm sitting on ice. We all know what ice do to you once you apply it to your body.
Yes.
So I kept getting up. I got up a lot, but, this is the result.
I'm looking at this picture. You're wearing, I think they're Nike Blazers sneakers. Mm-hmm. Your legs were crossed. How many different versions of this photo was taken?
Wow, man. If I can just, literally don't know, but I know a lot.
Okay.
When you say version, you mean pictures of what different styles I was sitting, how I was sitting in the chair and all that. We tried all kind of ways, man. And, they had plenty of cameras, man. So they were just flicking.
Sure.
Then I say, all right, I need a minute. I need to get up.
Okay. Were you one of those guys in the photo shoot where, like in the green room, you wanted a whole bowl of just green M&Ms? Like, what was the back at green room area during that photo shoot like?
Oh man, just sitting at a chair or a table on the side. There wasn't no green room type situation for me. Yeah. So think about it, man. It was pretty generic. The first time ever done. Mm-hmm. And you go back to them kind of days, and if you try to compare them days to these days, there's no comparison.
Sure.
It's like the arenas we play in. It's like, think about it, man. My games was played in the playoff tape delayed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you go back and see the transition. So, Hey, but I appreciated all of it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I appreciated all of it, man. What they got today, that's theirs. I had my turn. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Mhm. Your book, The Forward, was written by Kevin Durant. A lot of people make this comparison game with you and KD. I don't want to be corny and just be like, does he play like you? But I will ask this. Has Kevin ever had a conversation with you about your game and tape and watching your game?
Whether or not we talked. I used to be his mentor. The NBA had a mentoring program, early on in his career when he was with Seattle, matter of fact. And I went up there a few times, sat with him, ate dinner with him, talked to him, talked about basketball. Also did it when he was down in OKC. So I had a personal relationship with KD. People always ask me, who remind you of you? Well, he do in a sense because his effectiveness in scoring. But I tell him he didn't score like me. He was tall and slender. I think that's where most people make the comparison. But our abilities to score are total different. But the effectiveness is the same. We both get it done.
Sure. It's interesting. When I paid attention in science class, I remember them talking about the prehistoric days, the Paleozoic stages, and more. And I really feel like in basketball, they should recreate that chart. And you would probably start that chart as far as being tall and slender, because you go from that to KD, to Giannis, to Kristaps Porzingis, and a guy. I'll even add Bol in that mix, and then a guy who plays for now the team that you used to play for in the San Antonio Spurs and won in Victor Wembanyama. My question for you is, have you met Victor, and what do you make of his game so far this season?
He can play, man. He know how to play. Have I met him? No. Nor have he met me. I always ask people. They say, "Hey, you met Victor?" I say, "No, he ain't met me. He ain't done nothing yet."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just do that in respect, like meeting your elders. But no, I love what I see in him. He has the ability. He know how to play. He can shoot the ball. I mean, he's 7'4", 7'5", and he can do things that 7'4", 7'5" guy we haven't seen before, other than Bo. I mean, you got to mention Bobo. I mean, whether or not they want to or not, because he's the same size and he can handle. He can shoot the three. He can run. So I'm proud that he's here in San Antonio. I think he get a better chance to progress under this kind of leadership. It always helps to have somebody that's going to give you a chance to figure out who you are in this league that he's playing in. So I think that's an advantage for him.
He's got Yao Ming size, Rondo hands, Sean Bradley arms, T-Mac contortion ability, and low-key can draw a double team like early LeBron and can pass out of it. Have you seen anything like it?
Not at his size. No, not at his size, what he's able to do out of his size. But see, Scoop, that comes down to knowledge, knowing how to play. I think that's an advantage, because you can have all them skills all you want, but if you don't know how to think and play, that would separate guys, I feel. If you can think and play at the same time versus just play, you can see the separation. He can think and play, and I think that's, for him, potential-wise, can take him at a level that he probably don't really realize he can get to.
Ice, you talked about respecting elders. Do I call you Mr. Ice or do I call you Ice?
Call me George.
Okay. So tell me something. George, when you were playing, what was the conversations like then? Were the conversations that people make about comparisons now in the social media and cable news era Were those conversations being had in the era of tape delay, and what were those conversations?
The conversation back then with more people. I always tell people, man, we got one gentleman that we all love and what he stands for, and people loved him. Now, the media didn't love him, the papers didn't love him. So he was the people champ. I think back then, we were the people champ. So people talked about us,
Mm-hmm.
In this era, you sell them with the global, with the social media, so, you can be, if something said a whole lot, whether or not it's true or not, people will believe it because they hear it so much, and stuff, man. So I think that era of me playing is more rewarding because people talked about us. And to me, that's the beauty, to where in today's era, you go around the world, man, just sitting right here where me and you at, and people talk about you, So it's a big difference, man. I think most people think they got an advantage. I don't. I love people. People in my life make the world go round, and in this system we live in today, man, they got all the tools, man, that can be misconstrued about people.
Oh yeah. Take me back to Detroit. Growing up, did you have a favorite basketball player, a favorite baseball player, and a favorite football player? Who were they?
Basketball player was Oscar Robertson.
Okay.
When I coming up from Detroit, as I got older, then, I got a chance to deal with Connie Hawkins and Dr. J. Baseball, I'll go with like Willie Horton, because I'm a Detroit guy, football, who would I go with, back in the Lions days, which I wasn't really a big time football guy, Night Train Lane, so for me, these the people that I recognize as a youngster growing up, in the inner city of Detroit.
We started this conversation talking about the poster that will forever be reverenced for you sitting at Nike headquarters. And it's interesting to, and to see the forward from Kevin Durant, where he says, when I first went up to Nike's campus in Portland, I was around 18 or 19 years old. One of the first things I saw was the Iceman poster with him sitting on the iced out throne. I feel like Kevin is such a throwback to you guys. Like a lot of young guys don't always pay respect to you guys. And I feel concurrently, a lot of young guys feel like old guys or their elders don't respect them. I feel like there's such in some ways, with retired basketball players, older vets, and young guys, there's such a disconnect for a lot of reasons, because young guys coming into the league have followings. They have, spreads in magazines and more. I feel like you're like the shine of light. How do you find that middle ground between the OGs and the young guys?
Well, it's quite a separation, and who I can't say I hold fault, because I don't think the NBA owed us anything, but we have a players association, and I think that's where the connection comes, is to create and develop programs for us OGs can have a relationship with these new guys coming in. Who better can get one of these young guys' attention than a guy that he may have looked up to on his way to his journey, so it creates the separation, they're harder to get to, when you have guys like KD come up and be able to complement my career and say what I have encouraged, and how he respect my game and what I stand for. I think is a big part, of an understanding that should be understood on a bigger stage. You know, I mean, so for me, and when KD did my forward, I was proud of it. I was proud to hear how he felt about me. You know, I was proud to, to him to put my uniform on in the NBA, commercial and stuff, and say who I was to him. That made me feel good in the sense nobody like to be forgotten.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But for a young guy who as dominant as he has been in this league to say, man, George Gervin was one of them guys I looked up to. That's a special honor for me. Yeah. And it told me how it was an honor for him also to be able to express that worldwide.
Yeah. How long did it take you to write this book, this body of work with Scoop B?
It took a year, probably. Me and Scoop took our time. I got a documentary coming out. It come out probably a couple weeks. So when the guys was wanting me to do the documentary, they said, we should do a book too. So I didn't have an idea of going to do a book. I mean, because I was doing a documentary, they felt it would have been nice to do a book also. So, they threw some publishers, some writers up, and I came up with Scoop. I felt Scoop would have better understanding to understand how I talk, and then understand where I come from. Two inner city guys, coming up in a world that, everybody ain't gonna understand. So I was able to give and talk about some things in my life, honestly, because it's how the question is asked. People don't realize that, man. It's how people ask you.
How you frame things.
Yeah, how you frame things.
Thanks.
And he was that guy for me. So I was real proud of him, and I was proud of how he wrote it. So it was a lot of my memoirs. It was a lot how I see life out of my eyes. Not, I ain't asking everybody to agree with what I see, but it's my book, and I talked about how I saw life.
Couple more questions. One, Gary Payton has often, he reveres you as that father figure in his life. His father no longer here. When did you guys meet, and how instrumental were you in his life personally and professionally, if I may ask?
It's a good question, man. I know years ago, Gary called me and asked me to be his presenter in an award show that he had in LA. I'm talking about a long time ago. I didn't know Gary had felt about me like he did. And he called and say, Iceman, I want you to be my presenter. And, me being a vet like I am, said, oh, man, I'd be glad to. And then that's when we really had an opportunity to sit and talk. And he relayed to me some of his feelings about me, as a ball player and as a person. And it grew from there. Also I was this Hall of Fame presenter. So, for me, I mean, that's special, man. Man, he's a tough young man, man, come up in the inner city. It's good to have that kind of effect on young men coming up, man, and make them want to get to know you. So I'm thrilled about the relationship, man, and and I'm so proud of the relationship that that we have, and I cherish it.
Recently, Kevin Garnett, in an interview with Stephen A. Smith, talked about how we, as a basketball community, play the comparison game a lot. I know we brushed on comparisons, but in a light manner. But people live their life as a guide, like the Bible, with just comparing rather than enjoying it. That's what I took from it. And he said, we're missing a whole generation right before our eyes of guys who are playing basketball so well, whether it's the Anthony Edwards, whether it's the Trae Youngs, whether it's Mikal Bridges of the Brooklyn Nets, whether it's Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs. Two-part question. Did you see Kevin's remarks? What group of young guys do you personally enjoy watching in today's game?
Well, no, I didn't see Kevin's, remarks. It's quite a few guys I like to see. You named quite a few of them. Obviously KD. I like seeing the Greek Freak. I like Trey. We have my son. Trey's dad. He's an entertainer. I like, Seth and Steph Curry. Both of them. I mean, I like the family aspect of it, coming up in our days and stuff, our sons didn't have the opportunity that these sons have that's playing today, But, man, we live in a world, like you said, man, social media, and they drive narratives, and what do narratives do? They keep it separation. So when you separate things, then people have their own, way of, trying to get that kind of self-recognition, oh, he ain't no better than me, or he ain't no better than me, instead of enjoying the gift that you have to be able to play the game, So they got this narrative out now. If you ain't win a championship, you ain't have a successful career. I be saying, like, for real, I come up from the inner city of Detroit, single parent, from bread lines, to have the kind of career that I had. Didn't win a championship, but one of the top 50 ever play. And you gonna tell me I ain't have a successful career because I didn't win a championship? See, I won't let you play that narrative on me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, see, so again, we dealing with the social media to where it can be used as a tool to what? The divide. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people get caught up in it, all of us, man, are gifted, man, to be able to live a lifestyle and make money, man, in a world and in an era and stuff, man, where there's so much suffering and people don't have any hope. Instead of us selling that to try to give them hope or develop programs to where we can be another kind of hero. Not putting ball in the basket, but having an impact on other people's lives. See, we ain't selling that, and that's the part as a vet, that I'll say that's what we need to be talking about. I talk about that in my book. I talk about that, man. I mean, it's our responsibility as older men is to teach younger men to be better men. We have a certain responsibility, man, because, man, we were gifted. So it can't be just about us. Why you think you got that gift and he don't? Gotta be a reason for it.
Favor ain't fair, number one. Number two, how hard you worked. But the third part is, how much did you sacrifice to be in that position? Everybody has a story that brought them to where they are. I remember hearing somebody saying it's easier to make it to the NBA than it is to stay. Would you say that that's accurate?
Well, look at percentage of guys making it to the NBA, and that's tough.
Yeah. People
bank on making the NBA when the percentage-wise is so low that you'll go broke if you did that gambling. you know what I'm saying? I mean, so then it's a gift.
Yeah.
So what do you do with the gift? Do you appreciate it? If you appreciate it, then you do all you can to keep it. You go ham on the basketball court, earn your keep, support community, take care of your family, and get a couple things that maybe you didn't have when you were a kid that you wanted as a dog. I don't go crazy, but a couple things. Yeah. But that's the key, though, man. I mean, but, we need that kind of leadership out there pushing it. Do we have that? That's the question. And then, what's the real key? And I said in my book, spirituality. We all need it. You can't run from that. You, in the beginning of your book, you made reference, as I'm flipping and finding it, bear with me. You referenced the book of Timothy in the beginning. As soon as I find it, All scriptures are inspired.
There you go. That one. You said the 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 16 and 17. All scripture is inspired of God and beneficial for teaching, for reproving, for setting things straight, for disciplining in righteousness, so that the man of God may be fully competent, completely equipped for every good work.
That's the key, man. See, and then I ain't what I'm saying. That's what the Bible's saying. So it's where your faith at in the Bible that, it ain't George Gervin saying it. George Gervin is putting that at the front of his book, man, because that's where all my faith is. It ain't always been there. It's like you do anything else. You got to study. You got to research. And then you got to meditate on what you learn. And then you got to apply it to your life. Mm-hmm. That's how it works. And stuff. So that's why that means so much to me.
2 quick questions. When you got your first big paycheck, when you caught a lick, what is something that you always wanted as a kid that you bought as an adult?
Man, when I first got my first lick, which was $50,000, and I got a $4,000 bonus. So when I got my $4,000 bonus, I took my $4,000 bonus home. I split it up with my brothers and sisters and gave my mom the rest.
I like it.
That's what I did.
I like it.
Because that was my support group. And I was raised, like we said, in bread lines, man. And my mom, my hero, we were poor and didn't feel like it because how she supported us. So, man, I got a wonderful story, man. And, I tried to tell it in the book. And her and my wife are the 2 women of my life. That I say, man, that without them, man, I would have failed.
That's real. Last question. Greg Popovich and you are forever embroidered into the Spurs lexicon. Can you give me a funny Greg Popovich story between you and him?
Well, for me, what I always liked about Pop, man, Pop always wants you to just be you. You know what I'm saying, man? Pop created a system down here that created champions. That's what I always respect about Pop, man. Pop used to always tell the guys, man, look here, man, I'll get you your money, but this is what I want you to do for us. So that's, to me, the respect that I have for him, man. Everybody don't like Pop, man, because he got a voice. Mm-hmm. And his voice ain't just basketball. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't got nothing but respect for Pop, man. That's my man.
And I got nothing but respect for you. Make sure you check out the Iceman, Mr. Ice, Mr. George Gervin with Scoop Jackson, forward by Kevin Durant. Why I Was Born to Score, with the legendary Ice Capades photo. Brother, thank you so much for your time.
It's good. Appreciate you, man.
My man, always.
All right, my man.